think I'm ready. We'll go. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Marketing Minutes, brought to you by 3T Academy. I'm your host, Billy, and I'll be taking you through today's top market stories and analysis. Today's show is proudly hosted by Double Bottom Trades. We'll bring you the latest in trading strategies and techniques. Man, a little discombobulated. It's a Monday, though. It's going to be one of those days. Sorry, because we're going to get paid today. Before we get into this, I absolutely need some motivation today. Miss Lady A, what do you have for us?
All right, this morning's motivation for April 3rd is: the greatest mistake you can make in life is continually fearing that you'll never make one. Oh, that you'll make one, excuse me.
Yeah, say that one more time.
Yeah.
The greatest mistake you can make in life is continually fearing that you'll make one.
I like that. That's on my title in Mighty Network under my profile. Perfectionism is the mask that fear wears. We all get scared to launch and do things because we're scared we're gonna fuck it up. I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna fuck it up. Whatever you start, whatever you do, you're gonna fail at it in the beginning. You're gonna fail miserably. It's the ones who take those failures and turn them into lessons and learn from. You have to fail in life. You have to. It's absolutely a must to fail. If you don't fail, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, because you ain't doing something. You got to fail. Good one. I really like that one. I needed that one, man. Good job. Let's see. Let's get into the market and actually see what's going on. I'll share my screen real quick. Out of the 300 episodes I think we've done now, I finally learned how to share my screen without being told. Thank you, Miss April. All right, let's pull this over, man.
Just here to support you.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. All right, Fear and Greed Index. Where are we sitting at? Wow, let's make sure this is real. All right, so we're sitting at a 58 on the Fear and Greed Index, man. That means we should have some volume in the market. We should be able to make some plays. There should be some movement. But we'll see. Make sure, just like every other day, if you're in profit, take those greens, take those profitable days. This market could turn at any time. We did have some really good movement on the SPY last week. If whoever had them calls, I know you guys got paid, but it was a nice banger last week because there was volume in the market. So it's probably going to be a good trading week. We'll see. As long as we stay up in the 50s and 60s, we should see some pretty decent volume move around. Let's go and check out FinViz and actually see what the markets are doing. So you got the Dow up 415 points. You got the NASDAQ 200 up 208 points, and you have the S&P 500 up 58 points. And you can see we've had some monster green candles across the board. I mean, monster candles. So we're going to watch those and see what kind of pullback range we have. I do expect the Dow to come back down to the 332 area to test that range. Same thing with the NASDAQ. I feel like we'll come down to where the bottom of these candles are and possibly test that range. And again, same thing with the S&P 500 around the 410. So we'll be looking to see where we put those puts and calls. The market is bullish right now. If you look back at the S&P, which we'll take a look at on the SPY, the 50 crossed the, or the 13 crossed the 50 last week. And that's where that explosion came in volume. Some of the top gainers that we've had, BUR, YMAB, GFAI, BNOX, SOUN, and PLSE. SOUN is the AI that we've traded in the past. SOUN and BBAI is one of the two of the AI plays that we've played in the past. I believe SOUN is the one, correct me if I'm wrong, April, but that's the one held by BlackRock, Vanguard, and UBS and them, right? Citadel.
Correct.
Yeah, so we can watch those and see how the market's going. But let's see, my bad guys, I'm all over the place. Let's go check out the morning squawk and actually see what the market's talking about. Y'all ready for Cat in the Hat? Bring out my Dr. Seuss. Let's get this on. Monday, April 3rd. I cannot believe it's April 3rd, man. I'll be in Arizona this time next week. Monday, April 3rd, 2023. Short week ahead. U.S. stock markets will only be open 4 days this week, with exchanges closed on Good Friday. Heading into the frame, investors are looking for more momentum from stocks. 3 major indices finished up the first quarter higher, led by the tech-heavy NASDAQ, which is attempting to shake off last year's harsh losses. This week's also bringing a slew of data points for investors to chew over, including job openings and ADP private payrolls. On Friday, even though the market is closed, the government will release its hotly anticipated March jobs report. And we will be looking at. Dustin's watching at those pretty closely. So we'll get some things on that and see where we are. Oil surge. Oil prices jumped Monday after a group of major oil producers led by the Saudis vowed to cut production this year. As a part of the move, Saudi Arabia will reduce production itself by 500,000 barrels a day, while the United Arab Emirates will slash its daily production by 144,000 barrels. Kuwait, Oman, Iraq, Algeria, and Kazakhstan will also scale back on output. This is not good for us. The move, which is aimed at pushing prices higher, could throw a wrench in the central bank's fight against inflation. Remember we said hyperinflation was coming? The decision by the group known as OPEC also follows Russia's decision to reduce its oil output by 500,000 barrels a day. Russia's economy is feeling the crunch from piles of US and Western sanctions over its invasion of Ukraine. We've talked about this, what the market's going to do if they produce less or that they're producing less oil and demand's going to go up. You're going to see inflation like a rocket, man. We'll pay attention to that. Tag team. This is a good thing. We could watch UFC and see what groups they're in bed with. If you want to trade this type of news, you can. Now, this is how you cap WrestleMania weekend. Just as WWE is about to wrap the biggest event on the calendar, CNBC's Alex Sherman broke that the news that Vince McMahon's wrestling empire would merge with Dana White's UFC under the control of media executive, super agent, and entourage inspiration Ari Emanuel. The CEO of Endeavor Group company officially announced the deal Monday morning. The agreement values WWE at $9.3 billion and UFC at $12.1 billion. The two combat sports, there's one combat sport, the other one's a play. Two combat sport organizations would unite under a single company that's yet to be named that would be separate from Endeavor. Manuel is slated to be CEO of both, while McMahon and White will also hold top leadership roles. You know what, WWE, and I'm not hating against anyone that watches it, to each their own. Politics reminds me of WWE and WWF, and what I mean by that is we all found out that it's fake and we still don't care. We'll still watch it and see what kind of show they're going to feed us. But we all know it's pre-planned. But not hating on wrestling, just the comparison. Starbucks controversy. Starbucks fired Alex Rizzo, one of the key people behind the organized labor push at the coffee giant, triggering backlash from Starbucks workers. United Union. Her termination came a couple days after Howard Schultz, a three-time former CEO of Starbucks, defended the company's labor practices in the Senate hearing led by pro-union Senate Bernie Sanders, an independent from Vermont. Sanders has accused Schultz and Starbucks of union-busting tactics, which the former executive in company dispute. Starbucks and Rizzo has been written up for being late on several occasions at her Buffalo, New York cafe. Rizzo told CNBC's Ashley Caput that she had been 1 minute late on two of those four instances. I don't think that's a coincidence that 2 days after Howard Schultz had his ego bruised the way that he did, he started lashing out of Buffalo. That's everything that's going on in the world. I can tell you, I don't give a shit about Starbucks and coffee and the whole union thing for Starbucks. I just don't care. There's too many other things going on in the world that's way more important than that. But if we're trading stocks, you need to understand how Starbucks stocks works if you want to trade it. I personally don't trade it. Ukraine pushes back. Ukraine's government rejected claim from Wagner mercenary group's leader, who said Russian forces had technically captured the eastern Ukraine town of Bakhmut. Ukrainian and Russian fighters have been embroiled in a bitter battle over Bakhmut for weeks on end, but becoming a symbol of the whole war, which is now in its second year. I can't believe we've done this for 2 years already. Don't pay attention on victory faking inventors, not even close to the reality. A top Ukrainian official tweeted, meanwhile, Russia continues to imprison Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich. You can read that there. It's a wild time, man. I know we're giving heat about them locking up journalists, but yet Matt Taibbi was on Capitol Hill testifying in front of Congress, and then the IRS was showing up on his doorstep the same day. So it's different places, same tactics, man. It's wild. But and we don't say that to all get into the political stuff. We just say it to bring the news to our attention and kind of just see where the markets are and what we're doing, kind of what we need to look at, man. Let's see, now we'll go check out, is Dustin in here? Oh, my boy.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. My bad. I was looking for, I couldn't see you on the screen. So we're going to bring up our U.S. market watch and let Dustin tell us what we got going on and what we got coming up. What we got, fam?
Sure. Today, one of the big ones is the S&P final U.S. manufacturing PMI report, showing that it comes out about 9:45. And a little bit about this report, it measures the change in production levels across the U.S. economy from month to month. This report's released on the first business day of each month, and it's one of the earliest indicators of economic activity. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. That comes out at 9:45 Eastern time.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. So yeah, those are we'll be watching the job openings on Tuesday as well as also with the U.S. trade balance and see where we are on those as well. Let's see what else we got. Miss Faye, I know you're busy, fam. What are the gold spot?
Spot gold is 1977.35 and spot silver is 24.11 US.
Nice.
A couple of things that happened last week is that Arkansas introduced a bill to make gold and silver legal tender, which repeals the state capital gains tax. And Maine introduced a bill to authorize the state to invest in gold and silver as a hedge against the dollar.
Wow, that's big.
So, yeah.
I haven't seen states buy gold and silver in a long time. At least to set aside funds. Usually buy bonds and things like that. Good information. Great information. Let's see what else we got. So now let's go check out the SPY and just see what the market's doing, man. Let's bring this handy dandy thing. Actually, I'm gonna bring the other one over. That way I can show you guys both of them at once. All right, so we got the SPY. We took a huge run last week. Almost wish I'd have played Friday now. I mean, these were crazy. And just stayed above VWAP the whole time. We did hit the high of 409.85. That was an extremely high. This is something that we look for too, is the separation from VWAP. Because one of two things happen. VWAP is a volume weighted average price. So that's going to be your middle. That's where the volume should always go, is right along this purple line. And we look for separation from VWAP. And one or two things is going to happen when the volume gets separated from this purple line, whether it be up here, whether it be down here, it's going to come back to the purple line. And that may be, the volume, as you can see on the screen, going down to the purple line, or a volume increase influx and the purple line just moves up to the volume. So those are just some of the things that we're watching in the beginning to see what the volume did, how it reacted, and the volume shot up to the candle. Excuse me. So we have had a separation from VWAP to the upside. It did come to the downside. Where is it going to go? That's a good question, man. Let's see if we can find some levels for us. So just this morning, I think we have 408.06 is a nice little support area. And the reason I say that is because it broke through resistance here, became support, and started bouncing up and down in this area. Same thing, broke past, came down, touched support, got extended, came back down, touched. It's support. Now, what we'll do is we can look for a couple different plays. So our main channel is going to be 409, from 408 to 409 in this area. And you don't want to play in the middle. You want to play up near the top, or you want to play up near the bottom. So we're going to wait for a couple things to happen. We're going to wait for this to come back up and touch the top at 409, or we're going to wait for it to touch the 408 and see what it's going to do. And then from there, we'll make our decision. Are we going to put some puts in, or we're going to put some calls in? And when we put our plan together here in just a few minutes, we'll go over that a little more. It is a little extended. I would like to see it crack this 408 and just get a nice little healthy drop. Some of the levels will probably hit 407, 406 first before we get a couple bounces if we were to drop to that top side. The reason this thing is extended so far up is because the 50 and the 13 crossed last week. And we'll go over here on the flex grid and show you. So there's going to be a couple things I'm going to teach you guys when you're in boot camp and you come into class. Is we look for moving average crosses. So this thing's setting up for, it looks like a cup and handle, just to be real. Let me zoom out on this a little bit. It's 1 month. Let's go ahead and put a 6 month. All right. So you can see it came up, it's forming a little cup. let's see if it's going to have a pullback. One of the things, as you can see, what happened is this 13-day and this 50-day cross. We call that the golden cross. The true definition of a golden cross is when the 50 and the 200 cross, like right here. This would be called a golden cross. What we've seen in the market is you do have an influx of volume when that crosses, but the real influx of volume is when the 13 crosses the 50. We've seen it for the last year over and over and over again. And you can see as soon as this 13 crossed over this 50-day moving average, just had explosion to the upside. And that's because you had a faster moving average on top of a slower moving average, and that's how we want it. So now what we're gonna look for is this formed a cup. Now it looks like it's forming a handle. We're waiting for a pullback, and the pullback we should get should be right in this range between 404 to 402. If it's gonna form a cup and handle, it'll bring a nice little pullback. We'll look for some entries and see if we can find the support. So I'll be looking at the crack of 408, 407, put some puts in, have it come back down to 402 and 404. And then see if we can get a couple bounce plays, and I'll put some calls in at 404, 403, and even 402, and see if we can make some money back on the, on the upside. So that's going to be it for the SPY, man. Not a lot going on as far as that anyways. Let me move this over. All right, one other thing I do want to go over, if I can bring it back up real quick, is Tesla. See if Tesla's moving. See, and Tesla moves. Tesla moves with the SPY. Sometimes it moves a little ahead. Sometimes it moves a little behind. Right here, it seems to be moving a little ahead. We'll see. This is what I'm looking for on the SPY. Had a huge pump up, got extended. The volume went back down to the VWAP on this one. You notice on the SPY, the VWAP went up to the volume. This one's a little different. So we're going to see, are we going to get a nice little pullback and get a downtrend like we have here? You can clearly see the downtrend, and see if we can get some plays to the upside. So that's what we're going to be watching today. Mainly the SPY and contracts. And I think that's a wrap for today's morning market in minutes, guys. I hope you guys enjoy this quick and informative look into the financial markets. Remember to stay up to date with the latest news and analysis by visiting our website at 3T Academy and following us on social media. Big thank you to our host, Double Bottom Trades, for bringing you the best in trading strategies and techniques. Until next time, go make that money.